Today, we are going to talk about one of the best volume scorers in the entire country. This individual put up over 20 points a game and was just an overall leader for his team on the court. He is going to be a hot commodity for teams that need a scoring guard to come in and take the reins immediately. Let's talk Marcus Hill now. Hello and welcome back to another Transfer Portal Spotlight. Today we're talking Marcus Hill, a 6-foot guard out of Bowling Green who can really score the basketball. Was once the leading scorer in all of JUCO and then was a top 50 scorer this year at the NCAA level. But let's just take a step back and talk about his stats last year at Bowling Green. What was he able to do? So he averaged over 20 points a game. Again, was a top 50 scorer, all of D1. Was a willing rebounder, had over 5 a game. Had some trouble shooting the ball. Wasn't a great shooter by an efficiency standpoint. But he was able to pass the ball, had a high assist to turnover ratio, and did okay at the free throw line. So we're going to talk about a few different areas where he excelled last year, mostly being his pick and roll game, his ability to get to the rim off of a pick and roll situation. We're going to talk about his ability to go into ISO mode, something he does better than most players that I've reviewed so far. We're going to talk about his ability to shoot, and that's going to come with some question marks. That'll kind of create a new topic where we're going to talk about what he can do to improve his shooting, up his game a little bit across, all levels, make himself a little more consistent of a shooter. But we're going to start off first and foremost, like I said, with his ability to operate in a pick and roll ball handler situation. So how does he work in those situations? How does he get to the rim? What kind of finishes does he use? I put together a clip package, and we're going to get into that right now. Marcus Hill spent a ton of last year with the ball in his hands, and one of the areas he was used the most was just in pick and roll offense. So, he was able to average around a point per possession, which is fairly good. And there's a lot of traits to like about Marcus Hill with the ball in his hands. He is very creative around the rim. He is left-handed, but can finish both right or left. Is comfortable getting to the rim in traffic and getting a shot up. He wasn't highly efficient, which is going to be a trend for his game. 53% at the rim is not elite by any means, but given the number of attempts and some of the stuff he threw up there, it's not that bad either. My biggest concern with him in this perspective is does his ability to get to the rim and finish translate to a higher level where you're going to have better defenders, more athletic rim protectors to go against, because he's not super explosive around the rim. He's more crafty, and I think that's a definite question mark for him. Next, we're going to move into talking about Marcus Hill in ISO. He operates out of that more than most players I reviewed. He's almost 90th percentile in time spent in isolation. So, it's something unique he brings to his game and can be a bucket getter. So let's take a look at Marcus in isolation. Marcus Hill's ISO skills are probably what excite me the most about him as a prospect. So he has the ability to just kind of be instant offense, which is something you need out of a scoring guard. He has, the ability to break down his defender off of the dribble, to create space. He doesn't have to rely on that screen, if a play breaks down. Like, you can just find him within your offense, give him the opportunity to make something happen, and generally he comes through, which is a huge positive. Again, that same conversation we had about finishing applies here as well. Once he gets to the rim, he is very patient. He is very crafty at finding what release point he wants to have on his layup. He can get it high off the glass. He can do a lot of great things. But again, if he's up against a more athletic defender or a more athletic rim protector, how does that translate? Is he still able to get those same looks off? I'm just not too sure. Next, I want to talk about his ability to shoot the ball. So he operated with a very low volume last year. Did not shoot that many threes. There were some games where he took a lot of them and missed a lot of them. We'll get into that later, but right now I want to show you what his jump shot looks like. Does it look repeatable? Can he get it off? Let's look at some of the threes that he was able to actually make last year. On the whole, his jump shot doesn't look bad. I mean, he's able to get the ball up high pretty quickly. His release is maybe a little long, if anything, nothing too crazy. But I think the biggest concern, and we're going to get into this later, is he is setting up really far behind the line for no reason, even on wide open looks. So that's something that I think he has room to improve on. But again, smooth lefty release. It's not herky jerky, too much. A little straight up and down, but he gets the ball high quickly. He's able to get it over defenders. There's a lot to like about his jump shot base and his form. The question remains, though, is like how much more efficient can he get with this? And we'll talk about it in the next section, but there's just some little things he could do that would turn him from a 28% shooter like he was to maybe mid-30s or higher. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Hey, I just watched a video of this guy making 10 threes. Shot looks fine. So what's the problem here? Why isn't he a better shooter? I put a graphic together that kind of outlines what I think the underlying problem is. And we'll get into that here in a second when I pop it up. But it's a situation where I think there are areas of opportunity for Marcus Hill to increase his efficiency as a shooter. And here's what I'm saying. Let's take a look at this graphic. So what you're looking at here is his shot charts from games where he missed 3 or more three-pointers in a single game. So I think there are 4 or 5 shot charts all overlaid on each other right here. The blues are misses, the reds are makes, and I want to pay attention to where his misses were coming from. Like, those are fairly deep threes. Some of them are incredibly deep threes. The one make he had amongst these games was where he's kind of towing the line, right? So it makes you wonder, and it goes back to the clips of the made threes that we just saw, is why is he so far back? There were wide open catch and shoot opportunities where he's getting the ball off of a pass, I think a couple times from the post where, the defenders had dug down on the post and he's wide open, yet he's standing 2 to 3 feet behind the line. If he just is more cognizant of where he is on the court, of towing the line just a little bit more, I feel like he's going to make more. I think his efficiency kind of takes a bit of a jump. So it's a matter of, okay, let's be a little more selective of where we're shooting the ball from. Let's try to get our release, which looks pretty good, utilized in its best ways. So I think if he does those few things, he's going to be in a position to take a good jump in efficiency and raise his ceiling as an efficient scorer. And that's going to wrap it up for our analysis of Marcus Hill. His time in the spotlight here is over. There's so much to like about his game. He can finish. He's crafty around the rim. He can go left, can go right, get to the free throw line quite a bit. From a creator standpoint, you love his ability to get a paint touch and make something happen. Now, there are some concerns that I have with his game and how it translates to, the upper echelon of college basketball. I'm not sure how his athleticism translates around the rim. A lot of those finishes that we saw him get off, in his conference, I'm just not sure that he's able to consistently do that in the ACC or in the Big Ten or wherever he ends up. Shooting, huge concern. People are going to play you differently, and if you just can't shoot the ball and you've consistently proven you're not a shooting threat, it makes your finishing that much harder. It makes it harder to get to the rim because guys don't respect you on the perimeter. And I think if he can dial it back and start taking some more consistent jump shots or shots where he's going to be a little more comfortable making them, then I think you feel good about it. But as it stands right now, he has some improvements to make there. But overall, I think he's a good prospect. He's going to bring a scoring touch to a team that will need it. I appreciate everyone being here. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, please subscribe. It helps me out, helps me reach people that might need to see some more high-level basketball analysis. But I appreciate your time, and we'll see you on the next Spotlight.